Possible that the 401k that you have had for years has hidden fees and limited investment choices. But if you're no longer with the company, that 401k may be at the mercy of your former employer. All of these things could be costing you thousands. Rolling over your 401k into an IRA can provide better investment options that align with your long-term goals. At Trajan Wealth, we're fiduciary advisors that are held to a higher standard with no hidden agenda and no hidden fees. Don't let your retirement dollars sit in an old plan, and don't roll it over to your new plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. Call Trajan today at 256-208-9000.
Advisory services are offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's a daily update on Bama sports, and it's brought to you by Guthrie's, America's original chicken finger restaurant and a proud supporter of the Alabama Crimson Tide. For more information, visit Guthrie'sChicken.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. Here are our post-game thoughts from head coach Kalen DeBoer after Alabama's 30-14 win over Vanderbilt.
Just really proud of these guys, the resiliency throughout the game, the resiliency of the season, and just the way it starts, and just with the way they responded time and time again. Wasn't a perfect game by any means. That's a well-coached team that we faced there with Coach Lee. Does a great job there. And, I thought we played, hard-nosed. Love the way we finished the game. The second half, just controlling really the line of scrimmage more and more as the game went on both sides of the ball. And, I think we held them to 20-some yards really over the last probably 3 quarters rushing. And so
I'll have more in a moment.
This year, we honor the most important anniversary ever. An event that reshaped civilization as we know it. A day that would lead to something so flawless that nothing could ever really compare. People have tried to match it, but have failed. This year, we celebrate the 60th anniversary of Guthrie's, the home of the original chicken finger. Just talking about it gets me all choked up. And hungry for a chicken finger. Guthrie's, an original obsession for 60 years.
Join us tonight for Crimson Tide Rewind, live from Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Vestavia Hills at 6 p.m. Central to talk about Alabama's win against Vanderbilt. You can listen on the full radio network and the Varsity Network app, with a video replay available as well on the CTSN YouTube page. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Guthrie's. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And just like that, we're back, we're live, we're brand new, we are off, we are rolling. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Happy Monday morning, everyone. We're sitting here live inside Bill Penny Toyota Service Department. Their doors have just opened Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can find them servicing your vehicles. You can also head on out here and they can take care of all of your vehicle needs. It's Bill Penny Toyota. Also, a big thank you to Talent Heating and Air for helping us get this show off and running here on a Monday morning. Don't forget, find them online, talenthvac.com. Give them a call because right now they've got tune-up specials for $49. You can also get a $40 or $50 rebate, I should say, from TVA, and they can take care of that for you as well. So it's Talent Heating and Air, Bill Penny Toyota, getting us all going here on a beautiful Monday morning that you may see a little bit of rain here in the Tennessee Valley later today, but hopefully temperatures start to dip down a little bit. It is Monday. It is our Monday of the college football season, so that means it's your good, the bad, the ugly from a weekend of college football. There is plenty to serve around, good, bad, and ugly when you're talking college football. You start with Alabama and Vanderbilt on Saturday. You look at the first quarter, and Vanderbilt able to rush for about 114 yards in the first quarter. After that, Alabama's defense allows about 24 yards the rest of the way. So good there for Alabama, I guess, kind of figuring things out.
It's 23-0 domination when you score right before the half and then shut somebody's ass out the entire second half. After he and his team wrote checks with their mouth that their ass couldn't cash. Yeah, it was sweet.
First quarter, though, feeling a little nervous the way Vanderbilt moved the ball.
The entire defensive staff at halftime. There's no question about that. There's proof in the press box. I was ready to ship them all out on a Greyhound bus. I thought the first quarter and a half was an abomination because, and really most of the first half, even though they got 80% of their rushing yards on 2 plays in the first quarter into the early second, they still give up a touchdown at the end of the second quarter because they decided they didn't know how to defend a shovel pass. But again, it was 14-7, and then I got to give Kalen DeBoer and his staff, so in my opinion, it was bad early defensively, no question about it. But I thought the good from that point forward was Alabama and their coaching staff, like Kalen DeBoer, did a great job of calling 2 timeouts near the end of the half. Even though Vandy still scored, it gave Alabama a minute plus to run a 2-minute drill, which they did to perfection. 27-yard touchdown pass from Ty Simpson to Jeremy Bernard right before the half, got them into the locker room tied at 14, which they had the momentum going in. And then they came out the second half, even though Vandy had deferred and let Alabama have the ball first, and then got the huge interception. And that was, to me, if there was an ugly part of the game, the pick on the first drive, it wasn't good which
was, by the way, Alabama's first turnover of the season. That pick there was their first one of the season, despite how things did not go well at Florida State. They didn't turn the ball over in that game. They did, though, for the first time there.
Right. And then I thought, of course, the field goal attempt, the first one, the 46-yarder, was ugly. Certainly it was not good. Alabama didn't get any points. It really started slowly offensively. They couldn't finish drives for the first quarter plus. But then, from the second quarter on, they were able to finish that drive, tied at 7 with Ryan Williams on the 14-yard touchdown pass. Really nice job right there of improvising by Ty Simpson to find him. And then that tied the game at 7. And then, as we know, Vanderbilt retook the lead. But I thought from that point forward, Alabama dominated the game. They outcoached Vanderbilt, and who's a very well-coached team. Vanderbilt is legit. I mean, after seeing them, are they great on defense? No, but they're pretty good. And they did a good job against Alabama defensively in the second half, making Alabama settle for field goals. But then this is where you have to give a salute and a good mark for Connor Talty. He followed up the 46-yard miss, which was wide right, and he made 3 straight, 2 30-yarders and a 38-yarder, and they were all big because Alabama had to have points out of those drives. And then Alabama was also, you gotta be fortunate. Last year they were not fortunate. Everything that could have gone wrong, every bounce went Vandy's way, and that's why they threw the uprights in the river. Well, this time it went Alabama's way, and they made all the kicks. And
they also tackled better on Saturday against Vanderbilt.
They had 11 missed tackles according to Pro Football Focus last year. This year only 4.
Yep.
And so they did a better job of tackling. And the biggest thing is Ty Simpson did get sacked 4 times, but 3 of them he probably held the ball too long. One time he fumbled and Vanderbilt picked it up and scored, which would have made it 21-20 Vanderbilt at that time and would have been really disgusting because Alabama had dominated the game. Vanderbilt would have been hanging around, still were anyway. But luckily, Ty was down. The officials got the call right, and so they reviewed it. And then Alabama went on to take a 9-point lead, and then put game pressure on Vanderbilt. And another big thing they did, Alabama, I said the red zone defense would be key. Diego has some Brett Favre in him. He's going to take chances, especially if they're behind. And Vanderbilt, they did lead 7-0 and 14-7, but the entire second half they were behind. And so Diego did throw a pick. It was a huge interception that certainly Keon Sabb picked off, and that allowed Alabama to get the football back. And then in the fourth quarter, there's 12 minutes and 30-some seconds to go. Alabama gets the ball back, and following that interception. And basically, this is when I thought to myself, Alabama needs to possess the ball, which they already had, but they need to have their best drive of the game and ideally score a touchdown. They didn't, but they ran the football very, very effectively with Jam Miller, who you saw from game 1 to game 2 take a big jump.
Right.
And Alabama was able to control the clock, even get the biggin involved, this time as a fullback carrying the ball on a 3rd and 2. And they were able to run a ton of clock, over 8 minutes and 30 seconds off the clock, Scott, kick a 30-yard field goal. And by this time, there's just a little over 4 minutes to go in the game, and Vandy's down 9. Even a touchdown and a 2-point conversion doesn't give them the lead. And this really, I think, and Diego Pavia, who had to swallow a lot of crow, but he admitted, he's like, I started pressing because they knew they had to get down the field. Alabama had an interception called back on a holding penalty, but Vanderbilt still got a big personal foul penalty at the end of that, which even though it gave them a first down, it kept them backed up deep in their own territory. Alabama eventually holds on downs and then scores that touchdown, which was very sweet, by the way, to still cover the backdoor cover and officially dominate and whip Vanderbilt. And they did 30-14. And, Diego Pavia and Cedric Alexander, they were right. It wasn't close.
256-576-4977. That's the number of the phone lines. You can reach out to us here on a Monday. You're good, the bad, the ugly from a Saturday of college football. And here is Kalen DeBoer after Saturday's game.
Just really understanding when it first happened, week 1, that there's one of two things you can do. You can just take it, or you can fight back. And if you are who we are, and we really believe that we have a good football team, then we should only have one option, and that's just to get everything we got and leave it all on the football field. And that's what these guys are doing. And the defense is just doing a good job of making sure that they force the offense, the opposing offense, to play another play, right? Line up. You see the drives. I mean, there was 2 turnovers in the red zone, really. And so, forcing them to play another play and just making them earn it. And then, our guys, again, I mean, we are kind of getting that feeling of takeaways, I think like we did last year. It's starting to come back to us. And the physicality now on top of that I felt we brought today, I thought it was a positive step for our defense.
I would agree with that. I've been very critical of Kane Womack, and I was critical of it for this first half. I didn't think it was very good. I thought they were run blitzing, taking too many chances instead of just letting their guys win one-on-ones. But it was their best half of defense this year against a really good Vanderbilt offense, and it was anybody's game at halftime. The feel I had, even though I thought Alabama stole the momentum going into the locker room, I still thought Vanderbilt had the game where they wanted it.
Well, they got the ball coming out in the second half. It's tied at 14. You get the ball coming out at second half. You can still possess the clock like you want to. You can run your entire offense like you want to.
Yeah, well, and Alabama had 260 yards or so at halftime, but Vandy had 215. Okay, so both teams have been very productive. And you're thinking, okay, stops are hard to come by. So you're thinking Vandy still is in a good position, but Alabama came out immediately and got a stop. And then, think about it, Scott. I put this on our X account on 97.7 ESPN. When Talkin came out and made the 38-yarder on the Alabama's first drive of the second half, it was the first time they led Vanderbilt in 6, over 6 quarters, because they never led last year.
Right.
So you're thinking, well, they broke through. And the only thing that worried you was they not scoring touchdowns. And I credit Vanderbilt with that. They're a good football team, okay? They're they're solid on special teams. They didn't do anything catastrophic. But they absolutely are really good on offense. They put pressure on you, and their defense is better than a year ago. It's not an elite defense, but they're good. Yes. And so they hung in there. They played well in the red zone, and they got that pick early, a tie. But I thought the key for Alabama was, as you said, they did not turn it over the rest of the game. And for the second straight game, they had less penalties than the opposing team. Alabama got a couple of holding penalties. One of them, I don't know, an atrocity on Cam Dewberry that Alabama, I think it was the one they missed a field goal on that drive. It was an atrocity. It was a terrible call. And then a part of my ugly, I still don't know what targeting is. Okay. I don't understand, because at the end of the first half, Alabama still scored a touchdown. Okay. But Ryan Williams got hit in the head by the defender's helmet. Okay.
See, I didn't think that was targeting.
He hit him straight. He hit him in the helmet with his
sideways.
Helmet. He was trying to, but he hit him with his helmet.
Yeah.
I don't. The official said something to the effect of, he was in the process of trying to turn his shoulder. I don't care. He didn't completely turn it, and he hit him in the head.
Yeah. See, I didn't think that was targeting. I don't
understand what targeting is, because he hit him in the head. Now, he hit him in the shoulder. That's fine, but he got a little piece of the shoulder, but the side of his helmet hit Ryan Williams in the helmet. So to me, that's targeting. Now, if it had been Keon Sabb, I bet he's thrown out of the ball game, because, little bitty Vanderbilt, they might make history and win 2 in a row. I mean, the officials aren't thinking that way, but it makes you think they are, because they're so inconsistent with how they call targeting. It was just ridiculous. I thought it was targeting all the way. They didn't call it, but Alabama still scored. And luckily Ryan Williams wasn't concussed. But like I said, I thought he got hit in the head. But again, it is what it is. But I just thought that that should have been a call that went in Alabama's favor. But other than that, and then of course the rest of the ugly is James Franklin is an absolute clown. I mean, complaining about cross-country flights.
Well, he is the second Big Ten coach to do so in a couple weeks. Remember, Lincoln Riley did the same thing when USC had to make that trip to Illinois, and they lost. Had to make that. James Franklin doing it. All right, I tell you what, though, 7:14. Let's hit the pause button. When we come back, we'll get to the phone calls, and we'll get to some more of the good, the bad, the ugly from college football. It's Talking Ball live from Bill Penny Toyota.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games, and if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title. Because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
The biggest and best compact truck loaders are at Thompson Tractor. The next generation CAT compact track loaders bring superior power and enhanced truck loading capabilities. These machines will boost your productivity and your business. So go check out Thompson Tractor's Huntsville demo event on October the 9th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 3600 Governor's Drive. Visit ThompsonTractor.com or give them a call at 256-532-1776 for more details. We'll see you there.
The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Spend my dollar. 7:17 on a Monday morning. Talking ball live from Bill Penny Toyota, hanging out here in the service department. Let's get out to your phone calls here. You're good, the bad, the ugly from a weekend of college football. And B. Rich is with us out of the gates. Good morning, sir.
What's up? Call your
Good
shot.
Morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, fellas. Hey, we'll get to that here in just a little bit. I was gonna drop my good, bad, and the ugly. My good is two parts. The run game with Jam Miller, the biggins blocking their behinds off, and also Kane Womack's adjustments. You talked about it, Drew, at halftime.
Yeah.
I, too, have been super critical of both those, the running game and the defense. Both of them, excellent. I love the fact in the fourth quarter, we needed to run clock. Andy knew we were going to run the ball. Everybody in the stadium knew we were going to run the ball, and we still imposed our will. I thought that was fantastic. That is exactly what we need as we hit the stretch run here. My bad is a little bit nitpicky, and it ended up not costing us. But I thought the special teams in general, Drew, we gave up a pretty decent kick return. I think we may have only punted once, and it was horrendous. And then the place kicking, I hate missing 46-yarders. I guess with Riker, we just got used to just making everything. But Talkin does a great job on kickoffs. It's just, the longer field goals give him a little bit of trouble. And then the ugly, the SEC officiating, Drew, I was there. I don't get it. I did see the guy turn his head, but it says crown of the helmet to helmet. That's what it was.
That's what I thought it looked like to me. Yeah.
I don't know what targeting it is anymore. And it sucks because I do think, whether they want to admit it or not, I do think the jerseys and who it is and who you're playing, I do think that plays a factor. I wish we could get some more clarity on that. But overall, great performance by Alabama. I love that they shut that midget up. And I have absolutely zero issues. This went viral after the game. I have zero issues with people with giving Pavia grief. People were upset that Alabama fan in the South Field Zone suite were giving him. He's 24 years old. He's a well-paid athlete. And he ran his mouth all summer, all preseason, all week. He ran his mouth. And you can't act like a little child when things don't go your way. He should have just kept his head down. Just you either don't engage or you take it. But when you can't have it both ways, when you talk, you want to be holier than everybody else, and then you say exactly what you say back. I mean, it was profanity laced, them two going back and forth at each other. But Johnny Manziel's your mentor, so you get what you get. But that's my thoughts on the game. As far as Texas, Florida, I just had one of those feelings, man. Like I just think Texas. I love Sark, but I think they're kind of Jekyll and Hyde, and if the defense doesn't show up, like they were still solid. It wasn't like Florida went completely off, but they were. Texas's defense. If they have a little bit of an off day, they can be had, but. The last thing I want to leave y'all with, and Drew, I texted you this, October 27th, opening day for Shipley Donuts. So be rich.
I saw that a couple weeks ago. Yep.
I'm coming, Scott. I'm bringing the full assortment. So I'm gonna hook y'all up. We'll do it right there, and we'll get y'all's full. Get Drew some kolaches and y'all some donuts. You can see how they compare to Iowa and all that kind of stuff. So go ahead and put that date down, and we'll throw down on some donuts, fellas.
All right.
Appreciate
Thanks for the phone
it,
call, B. Rich.
You got it.
And I'll agree with a lot of B. Rich's thoughts right there, because with what he's talking about with Alabama and their adjustments in the second half, I thought they did a really nice job of what they basically did is they built I thought they put a bubble around Diego, stay in your gap, and then he's athletic, he's a good athlete, but this is not Michael Vick, this is not even his mentor Johnny Manziel. He's not as elusive, so he can be had. You just have to tackle and you have to get him on the ground. And he doesn't have a cannon, so Alabama did a good job of keeping the receivers in front of them, not giving up explosive plays. And I just thought they did a really nice job. And then a couple of times I thought Diego, like on the one where he ran the zone read, it was like 3rd down and 1. And all of a sudden he decides to keep it instead of handing it. Looked like Alexander had some room, and he decided to keep it himself, and Alabama tackled him for a 3-yard loss. So I thought that was another key to the game. And I agree with B. Rich too. I saw the viral moment, Scott. You probably saw it too.
I didn't.
It was everywhere. There was a fan. It was next to the tunnel where Vanderbilt's leaving the field. Okay.
Yeah.
And there was a fan, probably a little inebriated. He started yelling and cursing at Diego Pavia. Diego fired back and said he'd do whatever the bleep he felt like and say whatever the bleep he felt like. Then some clown from Vanderbilt, so on their coaching staff, was like, "Be quiet, he's a kid." He's not a kid. He's 24 years old, and he shot his mouth off the entire offseason. And in the pregame, Scott, this was another thing that got some people irate right before the game. Diego came out warming up. He started taking a knee, practicing taking a knee to mock the crowd. And then the student section, of course, didn't like it. They were giving him grief. And he turned around and he grabbed his crotch. Okay, so Diego deserved as much grief as the media was giving the fan. The fan, of course, he was over the line. Totally agree with that.
You can give him as much grief as you want, but if you start cussing and swearing at him first, that's when you cross the line.
Well, I mean, but he crossed the line first is what I'm saying. All this stuff I just told you happened before this guy ever did anything. So Diego Pavia is a turd, and there's no doubt about it. And the fact that Johnny Manziel is his idol is all you need to know. And Johnny's alma mater had a big home game against Mississippi State, and that clown who was probably drunk at some club after the game is in Tuscaloosa supporting Diego Pavia instead of supporting the Aggies. And that's all you need to know about that has been.
All right, let's get to Pat from Tuscaloosa. Good morning, Pat.
Hey, good morning, guys. Well, I do believe that if Vanderbilt doesn't let Alabama beat them 2 or 3 times, Vanderbilt's still capable of beating most people in the SEC. But that being said, let's go to the good. Hey, Ty Simpson, minute 33, minute 36, whatever he had, was cerebral on that drive. That was absolutely special. And had that not happened, that game could have gone all kind of different ways.
Yeah, he had a great game, and he overcame the early interception. Didn't turn it over again. He was 23 of 31 for like 340 and 2 touchdowns. He did his job. He did a great job of adjusting the protections and getting Alabama in the right plays. He played another strong game, no doubt about it, Pat.
All right, now I got to give that directional school, and I'll call him a directional school defensive coordinator because I can't stand him. But the second half, he was special. I got to give it to him. The first half, not having the safety back far enough or whatever he needed to do to keep that guy from scoring a touchdown. I don't know what he needed to do, but he didn't do it. And for that, he does not get the attaboy that he deserves. What do y'all think, Gary?
Well, I mean, I thought they adjusted at halftime, which is the bottom line. I thought they were taking too many chances early, and that kind of led to the two big runs, the 65-yard touchdown by Alexander, untouched basically. And then he gave up a 36-yarder to Diego. But Alabama defensively, you kind of heard Kellen DeBoer reference it. Justin Jefferson, who was the defensive MVP, he had 14 tackles. He had a rough first quarter, but he settled in after that. That play he made on Diego, stripping him inside the 10, was huge. Now, if it had just been a tackle, they have to settle for 3 points. They're not going to score a touchdown. They very likely are going to take the points there and be up 10-0. But he stripped him, and Alabama got the football back and then went on to tie the football game. So that was one of the turning points in the game. Both of the turnovers Alabama got, the INT and the fumble, were huge because they were red zone turnovers, and they turned Vanderbilt away, and that's something they didn't do to them a year ago.
Yeah, I respect your guys' opinions, but whenever we ran the ball with Proctor, had we been running with A.K. Deere or with Daniel Hill, I really think that could have been a touchdown with a real running back going through that big hole. What's your opinion?
Well, all I know is that they, that's their call. You can be critical of it if it doesn't work. And the one I would be critical of, look, the play worked, and it puts it on tape. Next time they may line that up and they may run right behind him and they may score a touchdown. And if you saw on the touchdown run, they pulled Caden Proctor, and the hole was big enough to drive a Mack truck through that they scored on to seal the game up with 17 seconds to go. But what I'm saying is that I think, you put that on tape, you give it to the big end right there. He does get the first down. Now, the play call that I had issue with was when they tried to line Jeremy Bernard up, on a 3rd and 5 in the red zone, or it was near the red zone. 3rd and 5, they lined him up, and shifted Ty Simpson out wide. I thought in that particular case they were going to throw back or lateral back to Simpson and maybe try to formation Vanderbilt and run a trick play and throw a pass, which I would have had no issue with. But instead they tried to just run Germ around the end. Vanderbilt defended it really well, tackled him. It was for a loss. And I thought honestly that if you were going to do that, you should have just done an option pitch or just turned around and a lateral that to Germ to try to get him around the end with Ty Simpson behind center. That's the call I had an issue with. I had no issue with using the big end to get the first down because I'm going to be honest with you, Pat. I don't know if Daniel Hill would have scored, but it got a first down and it continued the clock running, which is what Alabama needed to do, was possess the ball, run clock, and then get points out of that drive to basically put Vanderbilt in a really, really tough situation.
Yeah. Well, and the biggest thing I was happy about was scoring that last touchdown and all the Vanderbilt people that betted on that game left with their pockets empty because we covered the point spread.
No doubt.
Y'all have a blessed afternoon.
Thank you, Pat. We appreciate
Well, I tell you what, 7:30, such an exciting morning. Let's get a break in. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Your Fox 54 weather.
I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen. Expect to see a partly cloudy sky for this Monday. High temperatures warming into the low 80s for the afternoon. It also could get a little breezy at times. Wind gusts as high as 20 miles per hour will be possible. A little bit of rainfall possible as well. Heading into Monday night, we turn into a mostly cloudy sky. Low temperatures fall into the upper 60s.
Your Fox 54 weather, only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We are a championship school, and school is in session.
Makes him bang into each other, stays on his feet, breaks a tackle, scores!
Join us Saturday as the Crimson Tide head to the zoo to battle the Missouri Tigers. Our coverage begins at 8 a.m. on your home for Alabama football.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
The biggest and best compact truck loaders are at Thompson Tractor. The next generation CAT compact track loaders bring superior power and enhanced truck loading capabilities. These machines will boost your productivity and your business. So go check out Thompson Tractor's Huntsville demo event on October the 9th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 3600 Governor's Drive. Visit ThompsonTractor.com or give them a call at 256-532-1776 for more details. We'll see you there.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead, ran away, and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
Hello, listeners. I want to tell you a little bit about Minuteman Press and what we have to offer our community. We specialize in paper printing and can help from designing your piece to the finished product. We print media guides for many of the athletic departments at high schools and universities around the area. We typically purchase sponsorships from these schools as well to try and help them with their fundraising. Once we have reached our new normal, we also print all types of marketing materials for you to hand out either in person, via mail, or at various trade shows and events. At Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
The Tom Abraham Show, weekdays beginning at noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone and WZZN TV.
Welcome back, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, you're good, the bad, the ugly from a weekend of college football. You look around the rest of the SEC, and as expected, Texas A&M takes care of Mississippi State on Saturday. And the other shock is what happened in the swamp and the fact that Florida takes care of Texas. And now you look at the newest AP Top 25 poll, and we said it in the beginning of the year, there'll be teams that'll finish the year unranked, but we didn't even get through the end of October. And we're entering week 7. Number 1, Texas, number 2, Penn State, and number 4, Clemson, all outside of the AP Top 25.
I'm going to tell you what, and if there's one thing we never expected to see by early October when we were in Atlanta, Georgia, it's the Texas Longhorns, who I know I picked them on my ballot to win the SEC and play Alabama in Atlanta, but nobody expected them to already have 2 losses and the loss be to this. And now, again, I don't think in the preseason it would have been completely stunning to have
Florida beat Texas
in Gainesville.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But it's more how Texas has looked. I mean, they lost to number 1 Ohio State in a very competitive game, 14-7. But the thing is, and I'm talking about the 3 wins Texas had before they took on Florida, is they're not even looking good against the UTEPs and the Sam Houstons and stuff like that. That's the crazy part. So that's why guys like B. Rich, Josh Pate, people in the know were picking Florida because they just had a feeling, look, the Gators have played good defense.
Right.
They've played good defense in every game they've had. Even though they did drop one to South Florida, they had really no business losing in the swamp. But they've competed in every game. They've had chances, and they just couldn't do anything offensively. And see, that's why I still thought Texas would win a close game, because Texas is good on defense. I was not – actually, the game was more high-scoring than I thought it would be. I thought it might be a 17-10 type Texas win. It ended up being 29-21, and Florida pretty much led wire to wire.
Texas's offensive line was dismal in this ball game. Florida had as many quarterback pressures on Texas. I mean, Florida looked like Florida's defensive line looked like an all SEC performing defensive line against Texas on Saturday. Texas made Florida look really impressive.
They did. I mean, they that's part of the ugly. Texas offensive line has not been good all year.
No.
The running game, even though the running backs once again are banged up, the running game has not been good.
Arch had over 300 yards of total offense as a quarterback on Saturday.
He was their best player, and yet it was far from an A effort on his part. He's still growing as a quarterback. I mean, I even made this comment as he was struggling early to throw the football that, hell, I made a comment in Atlanta that Mannings are bust proof. Hell, maybe I cursed him. I don't know. But I still think he's going to be a good player.
But he's he's
a redshirt sophomore.
Yes.
And so he played a little bit last year as a redshirt freshman. He redshirted the year before. And the one thing that I have noticed too, and it's part of the bad, is Texas wide receivers besides Wingo, they don't get a lot of separation. Like, I'm not seeing what we saw a year ago. And so of course, Arch, that was mostly Quinn Ewers. But
right.
I that's part of to me, the bad for Texas. The ugly, of course, their offensive line. And then the good. Hey, give it to Rasputin, a.k.a. Billy Napier. Just when you think that he's done and everybody's got him gone, they turn around at home, play Texas, and now Texas out of the top 25. And yet somehow, and hey, the Sharps always seem to know, Scott, because on the way to Tuscaloosa on Saturday, as we talked about it on the show all week about the spread being 10.5 for Alabama. It went up in some places to 12.5 to 13 that morning on Saturday. Like somebody knew something. And we saw at the end of the game what happened. Alabama backdoor covered with that late touchdown. Somehow, right now, you can check it this morning, but late last night, frickin' Texas was a 2.5
No, they are.
favorite.
They're still this morning going into Oklahoma. Yes, going into this one, a Red River rivalry or Red River shootout, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I understand that Oklahoma has a backup quarterback, Hawkins.
Yes.
But he played last week.
Yes.
And he's played extensively. And with the way Texas is playing, I'm a little bit surprised.
And as good as Oklahoma's defense has been.
Yeah. I would take the under.
Yeah.
But right now, Texas is a slight favorite.
The other ugly, we kind of alluded to it out of the gates. Penn State becomes the first top 10 team to lose to an 0-4 or worst opponent in 40 years.
We talked about that last week. UCLA had never led in a game, Scott.
No.
It's 27.
They had 0 seconds of lead time in any college football game this year. The only team in college football that at one point had never led in a contest.
And then James Franklin, we already mentioned it earlier in the hour. He and Lincoln Sharman sitting here whining about cross-country flights when they're on chartered planes in first class. Please shut up talking about that. All that is an excuse for not having your team ready to play. And both of you are making $10 million a year.
Well, the conference itself, you're getting $70, $80 million because you voted to let these teams into your conference.
Well, thank your commissioner. You guys are the ones that wanted to add 4 West Coast teams, and we're the best league in America. Well,
and then everybody looks at the SEC and says, well, I can't believe they're not adding X, Y, and Z school from out here. And you look at where the SEC added their teams. They added Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Travel time is not really that much of an issue. You're not jumping 3 time zones.
Right. And that's what I never understood that. But it was all about money.
Yes.
For the Big Ten. And now, you're costing yourself. But James Franklin, he's never been able to win big games.
Look, I'll say this. That trip out to the Rose Bowl, James Franklin, yes, you got to adapt to it. You got to do it. I mean, NFL teams have to do it.
Yeah.
Everyone's having to do it now, but I will say this. That trip to the Rose Bowl is not easy.
No.
It's not. It's for a visiting team, it is not easy because, number one, yes, it's not an on-campus stadium. You're a ways away. The logistics are a little tough. I mean, you got to balance some things. It's not easy. And that's why when it was back in the day, it was the Big 10 and the Big 12 or the Big 8. Or the Pac-8, I should say, back in the Rose Bowl, the West Coast teams always had an advantage when teams went to the Rose Bowl because it's an easier trip. It's not an easy trip, but Penn State is a top 10 team. UCLA is a team with an interim head coach, an offensive coordinator that just got named 4 days ago that didn't even know how to run the headsets. Didn't even really understand how to talk to the quarterback through the headset. Still trying to figure all that out. And Jerry Neuheisel,
the son of Rick,
and yet they pull off an upset.
I mean, I mean, when I saw the score at one point in the first half, and it was 24-7, and ended up 27-7 at halftime. I honestly, it went through my mind if somebody better check FanDuel that Penn State had been bought off or something. I'm like, what are they doing? And then to see the pathetic press conference from the politician, James Franklin. I mean, look, the one thing he's done in his career is he's been terrible in big games. We always remember they choked against Oregon again.
Yep.
We always understand that. But what he had done is not lost any of these. He hadn't lost many of them where they were
bad losses.
Where you lost to the bottom feeders and it was a disaster. But now he's had it. So what happens to Penn State going forward? Because they've got big games coming up, and that's just and then there's and trust me, there was already criticism the week before because Penn State they invested a lot in this roster, Scott, to bring people back. They
brought their quarterback back.
Go poach wide receiver one from Syracuse. They thought they were at minimum, Scott, a playoff team.
Yes.
But they had a great chance to win the Big Ten because of all the losses at Ohio State. And now, boom, they fall on their face, and their season may be over. We don't know. It depends on how they respond.
Well, interim head coach Tim Skipper, who, by the way, was an interim head coach last year at Fresno State. He went 6-7 at Fresno State as an interim head coach. He is now tied with James Franklin with career top 10 wins against a Big Ten opponent.
All right, I saw that stat. I mean, that's bad.
That's laughable. That's laughable. The other one is, I guess you could say, I know they scored a bunch in the fourth quarter, but Florida State again, Gus Malzahn for 3 quarters in that ball game literally.
Well, they turned it over. You can't turn it over. They were down 28-3.
Yeah.
But to give them credit, they kept battling. I mean, I wouldn't call it ugly. I just call it bad. They're not as good as Miami. Miami's the better team. Mario has avoided the turds so far. They look like they have the best team in the ACC. Okay. And so we'll see it going forward. They've still got, some interesting matchups. Including I think they got to play Louisville, and Louisville actually bid it this weekend as well. But I give Miami credit. I think their league is weak. They need to take advantage of that, and I think they can. And if they could run the table and win the ACC championship, I think there is an above average chance that they're the number 1 overall seed because everybody's going to beat up on each other.
Right.
Now, at worst, I think it would be 2, but unless somebody else goes undefeated. But right now, that doesn't look likely, in my opinion.
Right.
So, especially when you look at the SEC and being the meat grinder it is, and we've already seen the preseason number 1 in Texas. Right now they look like they may be 8-4, and who would have ever thought that? And think about. Look, Scott, they tried to downplay it, but you and I both know they spent more money on their roster than probably anybody, and yet they may go 8-4. Which, am I saying Sark's going to get fired? I am not. But I'm just saying he's going to be under some heat.
But you start to question whether or not he can get it done. I mean, look, we sit here with James Franklin. We just got done doing it. James Franklin has not had the ability to win the big ball game at Penn State. Yes, he's gotten him to the playoffs.
Yeah.
But as far as the top 10 games go, the big games, James Franklin has not been able to do it. Can you say the same thing about Steve Sarkisian? So we'd be questioning Steve Sarkisian on whether or not, yes, he's got the flash. He's assembled the roster. He can recruit. He can do all this. And he got Texas to the SEC championship game last year. He got him into the playoffs, but can he win the big game? Can he win it when it matters the most?
Yeah, that's a big question. Sark has gotten to the SEC championship game, but he's
got him to the playoffs. He did it all last year.
But and he won a Big 12, but now he's in the SEC.
Right.
So you've got to win this league, and there's going to be a ton of pressure on you. And then I'm just looking at Ohio State's schedule because they are number one and undefeated right now.
Yes.
But they have Burt this weekend on the road.
Yes.
They play Illinois, who's bounced back since their disaster against Indiana. Then they play Wisconsin. Then they have those Nittany Lions of Penn State on November the 1st, but it's in the shoe.
Well, the biggest game in the Big Ten is this week. And that is in Oregon is hosting Indiana this week in the Big Ten.
Yeah, that we're going to see if Indiana is truly legit, in my opinion, because yes, they destroyed Illinois.
Yes.
I give them credit for that in Bloomington, but they have not, they haven't beaten a team of the caliber of
and they're
Oregon.
making that trip out west.
So and Oregon does look really good so far too, but but those are the other two teams really, Ohio State and Oregon, and maybe Indiana if Indiana can pull this off, making this West Coast trip. But I think Indiana's bubble is going to burst. I like Oregon in this game, and then when you're talking about, I think a consensus top three of Oregon, Ohio State, and Miami, and you're kind of fighting it out to see who can continue to win and have a shot to win their conference.
Yep.
And potentially be the number one seed. Now, does it mean a whole lot going into the playoff? It gives you the buys and things of that nature, and you have a chance to have a potentially easier draw. But, hey, we saw how that worked out for Oregon last year. Oregon was the number one national seed, and yet they get Ohio State and get popped.
That's true.
Because Ohio State was the 8th seed because of that horrendous loss to Michigan, which honestly may have worked out better in the long run for Ohio State.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll get back out to your phone calls. It's Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Sure, Valley Equipment Rental takes care of the homeowner and his needs, but how about the pros out there? Well, Valley Equipment has the big stuff as well. The equipment you need to get any job done. I'm talking about the big track hoe excavators, from the 30,000-pound mid-size one to the big boy 50,000-pound units. Need a dozer on the job? Well, they've got them up to 105 horsepower, and that's a good-sized machine. Plus, Valley Equipment has more lifts than anyone around. Up to 80-foot booms that reach 56 feet with a 10,000-pound capacity. 2 locations, North and South Parkway. Check them out today.
At Stella at 5 Points, living isn't just about having an apartment, it's about living artfully. Imagine waking up with the upscale feel of Atlanta or Nashville right here in the heart of Huntsville. Modern, stylish apartments, open layouts, stainless steel appliances, and resort-inspired amenities. Nestled in vibrant 5 Points, you'll enjoy walkability, parks, dining, and quick access to downtown without the chaos. Stella at 5 Points. Live artfully. Live Stella.
1 in 3 adults in America have prediabetes, but most don't know it. To let people know it can be reversed before it becomes type 2 diabetes, professional basketball player Julius Randle is doing everything in reverse.
I'm only dunking with reverse windmills. I drove the whole way to practice in reverse. I don't recommend it. This move's called the reverse shuffle. I do recommend it. And it took me months to learn how to speak in reverse, like this. Here's 10 almost for diabetes type 2 with living Ben has mom my. In other words, my mom has been living with type 2 diabetes for almost 10 years. So together, we want to say to the 84 million Americans at risk, exercise and healthy eating can help reverse prediabetes. Start by taking a simple 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Bet he can't say that in reverse.
97.7 The Zone.
Now on Saturday, you are willing to give a little extra. Then you, because of your preparation and the things I'm trying to get across to you. And if we do that as a team, 11 at a time, 4 years from now, we'll be walking out of here national champion. And I'll tell you this, I expect nothing less.
97.7 The Zone. This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Let's get out to your phone calls. Right back from the break. It's Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Brandon is with us. Good morning, Brandon.
What a fitting song. I mean,
should I stay or should I go?
Is that the whole music at the Penn State suicide hotline?
Probably.
Or they play Creed. Hold me now. I'm 6 feet from the edge, and I'm thinking maybe 6 feet ain't so far down.
Look, there's a lot of college football. There's several college football teams right now that you can sit there and say.
We've been talking about Texas all morning.
Texas is there. I mean, you can look around the rest.
Well, Scott, we haven't talked about the game, but 35-14, Georgia beats Kentucky. There's a report that Mark Stoops and Sexton are meeting with Mitch Barnhart today to discuss his buyout and
there's
Kentucky.
There's reports that, and then reports surface that they're, maybe it's the offensive coordinator that they're looking at, but his buyout's over $2.5 million, and blue, they don't think that's going to happen today either. I mean, it was funny. As soon as that game ended, it was like Kentucky fans and everybody there. But I think Kentucky's in a pickle when it comes to Mark Stoops.
Well, all the money they owe him.
I think they're in a pickle, and I don't think they can do anything about it.
And I saw, some of Stoops' press conferences, little snippets, and he said, "I'm not walking away."
He's like, "I'm staying here. I'm not doing anything." His feet.
And I don't blame him. I mean, he's been there 13 years. I know he flirted heavily with Texas A&M, but he stayed, and he's led them to unprecedented success. And I know it looks bad right now, but they made the investment to pay him and his staff what they are, Scott. And right now they're kind of stuck unless they can have a negotiated divorce. But it'll still involve Stoops leaving with a boatload of money. You know what I'm saying? So, but we certainly will see. Yeah, Brandon, you're right. A ton in at least in the $35 million range, I would think.
Well, I'm seeing a stat, and I'm going to make sure this is right. The head coach, Tim Skipper of the UCLA Bruins, now has as many top 10 Big Ten wins as James Franklin after coaching one game.
Yeah, we mentioned that a minute ago.
Yeah, Scott mentioned that, and I had heard it this weekend. It's pretty stunning that because Franklin's had a good run in Happy Valley, but it's the big games that have eluded him. The top 10 wins. I think the one he does have is against Ohio State, and they got to the Big Ten championship game. But I mean, wow, he's had a rough one in the big games.
Well, and we're talking about coaches that may be out or on the way down.
Right.
But on the flip side of it, where do we think Alex Golish might be next year? Do we think he's still at USF?
I doubt it.
He gets a big job.
I would think John Sumrall, whose name is now being heavily circulated everywhere, including Arkansas. But I think, Alex Golish, I would be surprised based on the success that he's had at USF if he's back there after this year. Now we'll see. And it all depends on timing and job, but I can't see USF being able to afford to keep him. I just don't think in this climate that's going to be possible.
We mentioned James Franklin. We mentioned how much he cried about, or that he cried that they had.
Yeah.
Remember last year they went out west and beat USC 33-30 in overtime.
Yeah.
And despite getting to the playoffs, he still lost to Ohio State last year.
And he got a good draw. Remember, they ended up in the
lost to
semifinals.
Oregon. He lost to Oregon in the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah.
Lost to Ohio State last year. Still got to beat SMU. Beat Boise State.
He beat vaunted SMU and Boise State. What a draw for James.
Yeah.
What were you saying,
Now-
Brandon?
Now, as far as where we are in the season,
Yeah.
we have figured out that all the predictions in the beginning of the season, most of them were wrong. So
Right.
how many preseason top 5 Heisman contenders are completely out of consideration at this point?
Well, Arch Manning,
Yeah.
DJ Lagway. I mean,
those two, I would say.
That's two of them who are definitely
Lenora Sellers,
Drew Aller at Penn State. I mean,
and Lenora Sellers was up there as well
in the draft.
Yep, Lenora Sellers. I mean, he's down there as well. So you could say really,
I'll say
4
it
or
again,
5 of the biggest
number
names.
1 overall pick in the draft. I mean, good. I think Sellers is talented. Okay, I'm not saying he's not, but I just think he needed more time, more seasoning. And obviously Arch Manning did, because people were saying he was the best quarterback prospect ever, and he's struggling at Texas. So I would say, Brandon, most of all of your preseason Heisman hype guys have gone by the wayside in many ways.
Right now, Carson Beck, Dante Moore, and Ty Simpson are your top 3.
Well, even John Mateer,
as far as the Heisman odds.
You remember how much we heard about John Mateer in Atlanta, but then he gets hurt.
His is injury.
Yeah,
not
the
performance.
Injury knocked him out.
Yes.
So
the other one's is performance.
Yeah.
His is injury.
But what Brandon's point is, it's wide open.
No, it is wide open now. Yeah. And you look at it because Carson Beck, Dante Moore, Ty Simpson, Jeremiah Smith, and Julian Sayin are the top 5. Well, Fernando Mendoza from Indiana, they're all tied. Those are the top 5 of the high. And only Jeremiah Smith, really, his name was somewhat mentioned early.
Yeah. He hadn't had a huge statistical
year. Right. But those are your top 5 now, so it's all flipped. All right. That's why sometimes you just don't put a lot of hype into the preseason stuff.
Let it play out, as they say.
All right. We'll talk to Bryan Matthews next. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Drivers who switch to Progressive have an annual savings of nearly $750. Progressive.com.
Alabama Crimson Tide laying 4.5 at Missouri in SEC football this week. The total 52.5. Georgia 3.5-point favorites over the Auburn Tigers at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Troy plus 10.5 at Texas State. UAB a 5.5-point dog at Florida Atlantic. On Thursday, Jacksonville State 9.5-point favorites over Sam Houston. 54.5 the total. Monday Night Football today. The Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City 3.5-point road favorites. 1 week from tonight, Bills laying 4.5 at the Falcons on Monday Night Football. For more, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. That's right, SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, dedicated to providing care that improves lives, helping us kick off hour number 2, 256-881-5151 to experience the SportsMed difference. We are live here from Bill Penny Toyota, sitting out in the service department, where Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., they can take care of your vehicle, and 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturdays. Don't forget, right now, you buy 3 tires, you get that 4th one for $1. You don't have to do it today. You got until October 31st to take advantage of that. Ready to weather the season. Head on out here to Bill Penny Toyota, get 3 tires, get that 4th one for $1, and that can be some really big-time savings. Well, the Auburn Tigers, when we're doing our good, the bad, the ugly from this past weekend of college football, the Auburn Tigers not a part of it because they were busy trying to figure out their own good, the bad, the ugly from this point up into the season. And the defense would fit the good part. The bad, the ugly would be the offense. And Hugh Freeze trying to answer a lot of questions in these past 7 days about the offense.
Well, I would say my ugly would be offensively, especially the last outing against Texas A&M. And then the bad, the special teams hasn't been great either, which has been bothersome. But you're definitely right, Scott. The good has been defensively. Auburn has got one of the better defenses. I don't think just in the SEC, but in college football,
right,
that's keeping them in games. But now they have a daunting road trip they return home after their couple of road trips when they went to Norman, Oklahoma, and then College Station. They will return home to Jordan-Hare Stadium. Should be a great crowd, a great atmosphere for the South Soul, this rivalry, as they are a slight home underdog. I saw 4.5 last night to the Georgia Bulldogs. And the big question is, where's this offense right now? And we're going to talk about that and more with our good friend Bryan Matthews, who since 2001 has covered the Tigers, and he is with On3/Rivals. And, of course, it's auburnsports.com, and we're talking to Bryan. Bryan, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all doing?
We're doing
good,
well.
bud.
Where is this offense, Bryan? I was actually, quite frankly, stunned, because if you had told me that Auburn was going to stand on their head, nearly get a pick six, set up their offense for a touchdown, hold A&M on the road to 16, I would have thought Auburn was honestly going to win the game. But we saw their offense completely come apart, and to me, it seems like they don't know who they are offensively.
They do seem lost on that side of the ball. They're not doing the things you would think they would be doing with the receiving core like they have, and some experienced running backs too. And they're just not. They're not producing a lot of big plays with this offense. They're not moving the ball. They're making a lot of mistakes, penalties. It's just bad in every area, up and down. I mean, they can't run. They can't throw the ball down the field. Can't get a drive start without a penalty. It's not good. So they had a lot to work on in the off week, and they did hold an extra practice. They normally do. The offensive staff did, spend extra time working on this issue. What solutions they come up with, I don't know that. They haven't talked about that yet. And we do speak to Hugh Freeze later on this afternoon. We'll see, but I'd imagine he'd like to keep some of that stuff to himself and surprise Georgia with it. We'll see. But, I think he's reached a stage in his time at Auburn where, he's got to show something.
Well, and Bryan, it's kind of head-scratching, too, because Hugh Freeze questions the play calling, saying, we should be running the ball more. Even if we only get 2-4 yards a carry, we need to be running the ball more. But is he the one calling the plays?
Well, he's this thing with the play calling. I don't know why he insists on doing this, but he's basically calling every play, right? He has his staff, come up with the suggestions or the plan for first down or third and long and those things, but it's all being filtered through him. So he's been in charge of this offense from the get-go. Well, not from the get-go. I guess he had offensive coordinator, of course, to start year one, but as soon as he got frustrated at that, he's taken control of this offense, and it has not worked for him. He's responsible for it, and if it's going to change, it's going to be up to him to get it done.
Well, and to me, just it's well documented about Jackson Arnold's issues throwing the football. He's held on to it too long, taking too many hits and sacks. When he's let go of it on time, it has been effective, in spots. But when I go back, and then again, I understand that Texas A&M and Baylor, A&M's a better football team. But when we saw them on the road in Waco, they ran the football so well, and Jackson Arnold seems to be more effective when you run him. Now, I know Hugh Freeze is not a huge fan of the quarterback taking a lot of hits, but much like a Jalen Milroe for Alabama, I always felt like when Milroe ran the ball effectively, he threw it better. I think the same could be said of Jackson Arnold. I think this team needs to run the football first and foremost. Now, I understand how much money they've and with the recruiting they've done at wide receiver, which looks great on paper, but you also have to play to the strength of your offensive line. And this offensive line, pass blocking is not, their forte. The more you see of them.
Oh no, I agree, and it's hard to understand why this offensive line isn't better at the things they do. Right? This is an experienced bunch with a ton of starts. Major college power 4 starts underneath them, so it's hard to understand why they're not performing better. But I agree. I think it starts with running the ball. Even if it's not super effective, just getting in non-second and 13 or second and 12 or second and 15 or what have you is a step forward for this offense, they absolutely need to do this, and they need to find a way, to do some basic things, run the ball, force, defenses to put more, into trying to stop that run and then get the ball over the top, just things people have been done for decades upon decades in football. Sometimes it doesn't have to be that complicated. They just need to start executing some things and getting some big plays out of this offense. I think they've misused this receiver core. I don't understand why they run so many, 5-yard curls and hitches over and over again. Right? I know it's a function of the offense to take what you give them, but I don't think you should design an offense where that's the outcome so often. So I just think they have a lot of things they got to work on, really.
Well, Brian, it's Georgia this weekend, and just because it's Georgia, I know it's at home, and so if you're Auburn, and if you're an Auburn fan, lots of times you feel a little bit more confident because this team plays a little bit different at home, especially in this rivalry. Things happen. And things just go Auburn's way lots of times when you're playing inside Jordan-Hare Stadium. Does it give you more confidence that Auburn can pull this one off? Or is it one of these things where the trends that we're seeing against Oklahoma and Texas A&M just going to continue on Saturday?
Well, I don't want to rule out an Auburn win, right? I know if Auburn plays like it did the last couple of weeks, they're not going to win against Georgia. But, this is college football. Things can change week to week or 2 weeks out. And, teams can change and they can get better and they can learn from their mistakes. I don't think many people thought UCLA was going to beat Penn State.
No, good point.
Last weekend. It's just another example in the hundreds and hundreds of examples of upsets. So, Auburn as a home dog is 4 points. I've seen plenty of Auburn home dogs pull off incredible wins in my 25 years covering this team. So, absolutely, this is not the question that Auburn steps up and starts playing better and maybe sparks this team and this program to better heights here with a win over Georgia. But the other could occur too, and I think if it does, especially if Auburn struggles offensively, then it's really going to be really, really tough. And that crowd at Jordan-Hare, I think could turn on you kind of quick if that happens.
Well, we even heard from our good friend Jake Crane this past Thursday. He kind of shocked us because he's in tune with Auburn, and he felt like if this game went disastrously bad, and I think that's kind of what you're referring to, if things go south early and the crowd, is disgruntled, he felt like if this was a bad Auburn performance, that Hugh Freeze might not make it to the end of the season or even the next week, which stunned us. Now, do I expect that? I don't. I really think Auburn is going to play a competitive game, and I think they've got a chance to win it because this is not a vintage Georgia team, in my opinion.
Right.
And I think Auburn plays good enough defense to play with anyone in the country. So if they can not turn it over and run the football somewhat effectively, I think they've got a shot here. But how big is this for Hugh Freeze? Because you talked about it before the season started, how critical it was to beat Baylor because of this stretch of games. But they did beat Baylor. They started 3-0, but now it's been two straight losses. How big is this one now in Hugh Freeze and his tenure on the Plains?
It's really big in that, okay, you can understand a team losing, back-to-back games, 800 miles away against top 10 teams on the road. That happens.
Right.
Still. Good team.
Yep.
And this is a good Georgia team coming in that's owned Auburn the last 20. They've won the series. But I think Auburn people are fed up with the offense, and they need to see progress there. I think it's, you spent 2 years building this team, signing all these really talented players. It's got to look. It can't look like that. No matter where you're playing or no matter the circumstances. And I think that has a lot of people worried. And if that was to happen again, I think there would be an expression of real frustration at Jordan-Hare Saturday. So that's something that Freeze and his program need to avoid because I think when you get at this point in a coach's time, he's 14-16, 5-13 in the SEC. You're on the edge each week, kind of. And he still doesn't have that signature win either, really. So this could provide that for sure. But, I think if things go ugly again, it could be reaching the terminal stage for sure.
Do you think Auburn experimented at all with the quarterback spot during this bye week?
I have not heard that, but I think they should have. They absolutely should. To me, a quarterback who has trouble getting the ball out, processing things quick enough is not a quarterback that can succeed at a high level in the SEC. I just think that's a negative you can't really overcome. So that's my opinion. Not a quarterback coach or offensive coordinator.
Right.
So we'll see what Auburn comes up with, but that's the way I see it. So, but no, I have no indication they're going to make a change there.
Well, and that's what I was wondering, how long a leash might, it might be for Jackson Arnold. Certainly I would expect him to start, but if he gets off to a slow start, do they try to make a change, to Deuce Knight? I know there's been a lot of speculation about that, but I will say this. To me, he's a talented kid with a bright future, Brian, but I don't know if throwing him into the fire against Georgia would be the wise thing to do.
Well, that's a tough place to throw a freshman in.
Yes, really.
But Auburn is in a really tough place. So sometimes you got to make those tough decisions, right? And this might be the time to do it. So we will talk to Freeze a little bit more about this. I'm sure he'll be asked specifically about and see what he says. But I would be for that, for a change. You got Ashton Daniels there too, with 2 years of Power 4 starting experience. So there are some options.
Yeah, and going into this bye week, though, obviously the positive part is this defense, and they've seen it develop. Durkin's done a really good job, and he's done it playing a lot of young guys, not just the vets. They've mixed in a lot of freshmen, especially at linebacker, and even with the injuries in the secondary has gotten better.
They are playing really well. They're playing good ball right now. They're well coached. He is playing a lot of young players in that rotation up front and linebacker in the secondary. I think that bodes well for the future of the defense this year and going forward. I think Durkin's done an excellent job just in every facet of his job as defensive coordinator and those coaches on that side of the ball. It's what Auburn really needs to see out of the offense, but just hasn't yet. But the defense looks good. Not perfect, not dominating, not, best in the country, shut out a team or what have you, but playing really good ball and competing and, it's given Auburn a chance to win the last 2 road games.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, Brian. You look at this Auburn roster, and I'm not making excuses for what's going on right now by any stretch, but you look at the percentage of young players that Auburn is playing right now, especially the freshmen and sophomores. there's a lot of young guys that are having to learn and grow up fast for Auburn this year.
They really are. And, a lot of those guys are on defense. Jared Smith has played terrifically, I think, so far. Very highly recruited edge player, defensive end there for Auburn. Those linebackers like Bryce Diaz and Elijah Melendez playing really well. Malik Autry getting in there a lot. So, really impressed with those freshmen. And, questioning why some of the veterans on the other side of the ball are playing a little bit better too.
Yeah.
But we'll see if that changes this week.
Well, that's right. I think that's what the Auburn fan base would like to see. Some of the the offense and the young guys stepping up like some of the defensive guys have, because going into the season, I think there were in many cases, I think there was more questions on defense than offense. But the production defensively has been there. Offensively, it's just been after a nice start. When the competition is ramped up in the SEC, it hasn't been there. But we'll see. Now, Bryan, before we delve a little bit into baseball, because I know you've been and seen some of the fall ball at Auburn, I wanted to ask you about that real quick. But if Auburn's going to win this game in your mind on Saturday night, how do they do it?
Well, they've got to be the team that forces the other team into mistakes, right? They've got to get some turnovers. They've got to play better on special teams.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got to be able to run the ball somehow, some way. I know that's not easy against Georgia, right? Especially if they know what's coming, but they've got to find a way to establish that running game and then build the offense from there and see if they can't get some big plays down the field with this receiving core, get some one-on-one matchups, and see if Cam Coleman or whoever can go up there and make a play.
Mm-hmm. And then Butch Thompson's done remarkable things. 2 World Series trips at Auburn, hosted a regional again last year. They have a really good program year in and year out. So the expectations are always big. I think I've heard that they've got about 20 newcomers, 21 returnees. So it's about about half the roster is new, and yet still high expectations for the Tigers.
Yeah, this to me, and it's a ways to go. We're just starting fall practice, and then you got preseason practice. And, the season and late February there. But this to me looks like one of the deepest and most talented rosters they've had. In my time. Maybe not the proven, first round number 1 overall prospect coming back or something like that. But just a lot of talented players all competing. I think fall is going to be a really, really competitive time for these guys with these newcomers competing with, that group of freshmen from that last class that was so good. So, it's a really, really good time, I feel like, to follow Auburn baseball, the way the stadium's expanded, the crowds they had this last year were incredible. And, I think Butch and staff have put together an excellent roster with a ton of competition. And I think they got a chance to field an even better team next year.
Well, good stuff, Bryan. Yep. We always appreciate it. Let everybody know how to follow you. And you guys are going to have blowout coverage all week, I know, of this Auburn-Georgia matchup.
We will. And we do get with Freeze here at 1:30, I believe. And you can check all that out at auburnsports.com. You can follow me on Twitter /X at BMattAU.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Bryan.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys.
All right. Bryan Matthews, kind enough to join us. And one Auburn note, and this has to be probably directly correlated to Bruce Pearl not being there anymore, and that is Caleb Holt cancels his visit with the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, I wasn't stunned by that because Bruce had spent a long time recruiting Caleb Holt, and I have a feeling Caleb, certainly the players in the program on the team now knew that Bruce wasn't going to be there very likely, but probably not a lot of the targets they were recruiting in this coming class.
Yes.
So now that's going to kind of be reset. NIL is still a huge factor, but certainly I think it bodes well for Alabama, but I still think Kentucky's in there strong. Caleb Holt did visit Arizona this past weekend, Scott. He flew out to Tucson, and he will go to Big Blue Madness coming up on this weekend. Big Blue Madness, as you know, that's the circus event before the practice has already started.
Yes.
But it's the big event to really kick off basketball. And it's even bigger this year with Kentucky football being in the toilet. So it's really going to be, it's always a great event, okay, made kind of for TV. So I'm not surprised that Caleb Holt's going back out there. They bring in a lot of their big targets for that. So, and I'm sure he may visit Alabama again too. But again, he's already officially visited both Alabama and Kentucky, Providence, Arizona, Ole Miss. But I still think, we're talking about Alabama and Kentucky being the two favorites right now.
All right, let's get a break in. Phone calls, 256-576-4977, your number if you want to join us on the good, the bad, the ugly on a Monday of college football.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Eagle Masonry and Insulation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at Your Home Window. Now is the time to take advantage of their huge end of summer sale and get ready for the fall. Right now, all windows are 35% off. All exterior doors are 40% off. Now you get the whole door, just the price is 40% off. And get this, 0% interest for 18 months, as in no interest, nada, none. As always, the estimates are free, as is the lifetime warranty. To make an appointment, go to yourhomewindow.com. That's yourhomewindow.com.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Listen to the Alabama Football Recap Show every Sunday at 11. Smoked by Dreamland Barbecue. Ain't nothing like 'em nowhere. On 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball live from Bill Penny Toyota, hanging out here in the service department. We were talking about Kentucky. We're talking about Caleb Holt visiting, Big Blue Madness. But Matt Jones yesterday, he summed everything up on how Kentucky, of course, Matt Jones, Kentucky Sports.
He's been on the show.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Kentucky Sports Radio. He says this is what will happen over the next 7 days. There'll be a week of the fan base voicing, likely loudly, that Kentucky football needs a change.
Right.
Which they are doing.
Right.
And then Saturday, Big Blue Madness means the fan base moves to basketball.
Right.
This apathy is why the program is really in trouble.
Talking about football.
Yeah.
In that case.
Yes.
Well, he's right. I mean, because there has been excitement in the past all the way through November for football, but right now it's just like it feels stale because you know what the big issue is with Coach Stoops. It's offense and the quarterback position, and they just have not been able to figure it out. And it's not like there's been effort, but they just can't figure it out. And you're already coming off of a 4-8 season, Scott. So it's not like you had that upset over Ole Miss, okay? But other than that, the season was terrible. And now you're off to a bad start. And I'll be honest with you, the season is not over, okay? Far from over. But it looks like they got the worst team in the conference.
Well, and you get a feeling that Mark Stoops is like, look, and he's drawing a line in the sand saying, look, this is the offense we're going to run.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to work because it has worked.
Are you saying this is an Iowa thing?
Exactly.
I knew that's where you were going. I just wanted
to
make sure.
It has the feel of that. He's an Iowa guy.
Yeah, he is.
Kurt Ferentz is doing the exact same thing. He's an Iowa guy. He was on the staff for years at Iowa. Mark Stoops, same thing. Played there, was on the staff. It's almost like, Kentucky's in the exact same boat as Iowa. They have a coach that has a contract with a monster buyout that you really, at the end of the day, you can sit there and say, oh yeah, the boosters can come and get the money and they can pay for it and they can, $40-some million, that they can take care of it. No big deal. But at the end of the day, you don't want to take it. It's something that it's really hard to take care of. Your defense is good.
Yeah.
Your offense is, you have a coach in Mark Stoops that, you know what, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it, but we just don't have the players to do it. But they don't adapt. They're not changing. They're not becoming fresh again.
Well, he's tried different offensive coordinators. He's tried to go in the portal and find the quarterback. They just can't find the right fit.
True.
And that offense has been their biggest bugaboo.
Yep.
Right now it's just becoming an issue Matt Jones put it succinctly, apathy, and I'll give they actually have an underrated fan base that turns out. They try to support football. They draw 60,000+ fans. But if the team is not winning, we know how big basketball is. It's always going to be king, and they're going to inevitably switch to hoops.
Would you be shocked if Kentucky did not make a change? If everything stayed status quo?
If it ends up a 2-10, 3-9 type deal, which it looks like it could be, I would be shocked if they don't have some sort of resolution, maybe a negotiated buyout. Now, Stoops is still going to get the majority of this money. Now, It might end up being that he gets it all, and you still now we've got
Halloween Arthur,
headless horseman Arthur.
Yes,
over here. That's probably the neatest.
Oh, now it's pumpkin
seen.
Arthur.
Oh, now that's headless horseman Arthur right there. I couldn't help but interrupt myself on that when I'm seeing headless horseman Arthur.
That's a squirrel.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, with Kentucky, look, it may be that he gets the money through installments.
Okay.
I don't know if they're going to have a booster step up and say who's worth $1 billion and just say, okay, here, I'm going to write a check for $35 million. But I think the one thing that I did hear was I think this was right, that they owe him the money in 60 days. Is that what we heard last week?
Well, they owe, same way with the offensive coordinator. The offensive coordinator's buyout is north of $2 million, and they would owe him the same amount. They would owe him that money within 60 days as well. So if you did move on from Mark Stoops, you would then also move on from your offensive coordinator. So let's say they do negotiate a buyout. Mark Stoops is $35 million or $38 million due within 60 days. Your offensive coordinator is north of $2 million. You owe him that within 60 days. So within 60 days, you'd be paying close to $40 million in buyout money.
Yeah, that's crazy. I just think maybe there's a negotiation that happens where he gets it, but it turns into maybe more than 60 days. Like you get it per month, for X amount of years.
Right.
And look, I'm not hating on anyone. He's been there 13 years. Kentucky and negotiated in good faith with Sexton. Look, you got to pay. Okay. That's just the way it is.
Yep.
And then Stoops will get a ton of money. He can decide what he wants to do next in coaching. He's still young enough where I think it's going to want to keep doing it. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if he was a DC somewhere. I even, had mentioned him at Alabama as a candidate at Alabama if things went south with Kane Womack, potentially, because I thought he was a frontline defensive coordinator at Florida State for dirt neck.
Texas A&M wanted him, right?
Yeah. Well, as head coach,
I'm just saying. Would Arkansas take a flyer on Mark Stoops?
No. The fan base would freak out because he's not winning in the SEC right now. Now, would UAB? I mean, could he move to a group of 6 program? I think he could. Now, as a head coach, but that just depends on what does Mark Stoops want, because you and I both know the salaries these DCs make too.
Yeah, it's true.
Look at Jim Knowles at
you could make
Penn
$3
State.
million.
He makes $3 million a year, even though right now they want to fire him because of the UCLA debacle.
You're right. All right. Well, let's get a break in. There's a lot more to unpack with that, but we will do that over the next few days as things start to develop there in Lexington. Let's get a break in because Nick Kelly was there Saturday watching Alabama Vanderbilt. We'll get his thoughts on everything coming up next.
They're playing his alma mater.
Yeah, Missouri. Alabama got to go on the road. We'll break it all down.
To the zoo.
Nick Kelly started breaking it all down yesterday on X. If you did not catch it, he'll join us next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Travel accommodations for 97.7 ESPN The Zone provided by University Kia. Your Fox 54 weather.
Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen. A little bit of light lingering rainfall expected for this Monday night, mainly after midnight. We'll continue to see mostly clouds. Low temperatures fall into the upper 60s for the overnight, and heading into our Tuesday, we'll keep a little bit of rainfall in the forecast for the afternoon. Otherwise, we'll continue to see mostly clouds. High temperatures warm into the low 80s.
Your Fox 54 weather, only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Fall break is upon us, but the high school streaming network still rolls on in Week 7. We have 3 Thursday games, including our Game of the Week featuring Mae Jemison taking on Decatur. New Hope visits Bill Washington Stadium against Madison Academy, and Westminster Christian takes on Madison County. On Friday over the airwaves will be Buckhorn taking on Southside Gadsden, and Sparkman is at James Clements. Follow all the action on our streaming network all season long. The biggest and best compact truck loaders are at Thompson Tractor. The next generation CAT compact track loaders bring superior power and enhanced truck loading capabilities. These machines will boost your productivity and your business. So go check out Thompson Tractor's Huntsville demo event on October the 9th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 3600 Governor's Drive. Visit ThompsonTractor.com or give them a call at 256-532-1776 for more details. We'll see you there.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road. The new Cheeseburger Bobby's on Carl T. Jones Drive in South Huntsville is focused on serving great food prepared with the absolute freshest ingredients, featuring classic hamburgers and cheeseburgers with lots of specialty options, chicken and hot dogs, even turkey burgers and veggie burgers, along with fresh cut fries, onion rings, or coleslaw. Always fresh, never frozen, except for the frozen custard. See all the delicious options at Cheeseburger Bobby's for yourself. Check out the menu and more at cheeseburgerbobbies.com.
Want to save some money?
I can take money and I can make it into more money.
Just check out our zone deals online at 977ESPN.com. We are 977 ESPN The Zone.
Alabama getting it done over the weekend against the Vanderbilt Commodores inside Bryant-Denny Stadium on Nick Saban Field on Saturday. By the way, Nick Saban was honored, as we told you, leading into the week, going for his honor into the College Football Hall of Fame. He was honored in front of the home crowd on Saturday. As for the game itself, first quarter, we talked about it. Vanderbilt had some big-time rushes in that game early, over 100 yards rushing in the first quarter. After that, the Alabama defense shut them all down. And that was one of the biggest question marks going into the game was, can the Alabama defense, can their eyes stay where they need to be? Can they not, I guess, improvise? And can they stay on their assignment? And from the second, third, and fourth quarters, they did that.
Yeah, they really did. They played very, very well, and we're going to talk to Nick Kelly, the reigning sports writer of the year. Does a great job covering the Crimson Tide for AL.com, and we're going to break down this matchup going to the Zoo in Columbia, and this is an interesting one because it's Nick Kelly's alma mater. He knows Missouri very, very well, and this is an interesting matchup. I do think this one is the definition of a trap game simply because we knew that Georgia was going to be very difficult, very emotional. They continued the streak there, and then Vanderbilt was a game they had circled due to last year, but they beat Missouri in Tuscaloosa 34-0, and now Mizzou laying in the weeds, undefeated, ranked in the top 15 in the country. Going to be a very interesting matchup. Nick, welcome to the show. How are you? Good morning.
Hey, great to be with you guys. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. I frankly am interested to see how Alabama's defense holds up against the run again.
Yes.
It looked a lot better after the first quarter, but Missouri right now has had an elite rushing offense. Now, they haven't played really any tough teams just yet, but you just look at what Ahmad Hardy, the transfer from ULM, has done for them. He leads the country in rushing yards. He leads the country in missed tackles forced. I mean, this is a running back who has a lot of talent, and it'll be interesting to see how Alabama holds up against that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Nick, too, my thought is I'm interested to see how Alabama holds up as a whole altogether because there was so much attention going into the Georgia game because it was the first time Alabama goes on the road against Florida State. They don't look good. What are they going to do against Georgia? And then they get by Georgia and is like, you know what? Last year, Vanderbilt had Alabama's number. Can Alabama respond against Vanderbilt? And it was easier, I guess, to get a buy-in because of how things went last year with those two games. Now you're going to Missouri, and it's you got to do it again. But it just seems like that attention right now, the focus of can Alabama turn it around? It's not there because it's just a game now with Missouri.
Yeah, I've been saying since July, this has the potential for a trap game. Now, Missouri is a ranked team and in the top 15, so I think that helps prevent the idea of walking in and stepping in that trap. Missouri could just win just because Missouri's had success and has seemed to be a good football team. Again, hasn't really played anybody yet, so the jury's still out. But Alabama could just lose this game because Missouri's a good team, not just because Alabama overlooks them. We'll find out, though. I mean, it does have the ingredients for an upset. You have an 11 a.m. kick on the road. It's a road game, something that Alabama has struggled with at times. And, of course, the Georgia Bulldog game proved that Alabama can win big on the road and have a big win, I should say. So maybe they're maturing in that way. But on the road, historically, has not gone well under Kalen DeBoer. So, yeah, it has the ingredients for an upset. Doesn't mean that'll happen, though. I think that the good news about Alabama is they have that reset already in week one. It's not that far removed from Florida State. So Alabama still has that fresh in the mind, and I think that edge they've been playing with isn't necessarily going to go away too quickly. They know the stretch they're in. This is a tough, tough stretch.
Mm-hmm. And I thought that was interesting. Ty Simpson pointed that out right after the game when he spoke to the media, that he compared it to an NFL gauntlet.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. It feels like it. And one thing that is key to remember about the NFL, any given week, any given Sunday, as they like to say, you could have a team that's playing well just drop a dud because they're playing good teams. They're playing professionals. And this stretch kind of reminds you of that. Like, I think just because Alabama might lose one of these games in this, ridiculous 6-7 game stretch doesn't mean that, oh man, they're doomed. We kind of have to get out of the old college football mindset. This is like an NFL schedule in a lot of ways. So yeah, we'll see how Alabama holds up in these heavyweight fights is the phrase they've been using. But I think they have the right mindset. Doesn't mean they're going to win every single game, but I think they have the right mindset and the right focus right now.
And Nick, you go back and you look at this game Saturday against Vanderbilt, and then there's a lot of big moments in that game. Key plays here, key plays there. But I think one of the most impressive things, and you could say it's probably one of the most impressive things we've seen from Alabama from beginning to end of the season, was that drive right before halftime where they have to go pretty much the entire length of the field to get a touchdown. They tie. Something just seemed on that drive. It just kind of summed up a lot of things for this Alabama football team.
Yeah, it clicked. They were surgical. And not only that drive, but they talk about winning that middle 8. So it's the last 4 minutes of the game, or the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half. And of course, they gave up that touchdown. I can't remember the exact time that they gave up that score to Vanderbilt, but Alabama responded with a touchdown right before half. And then it was so key that Alabama stopped Vanderbilt to start the second half, because Vanderbilt, let's just say that Vanderbilt scores that touchdown like they did. Alabama doesn't score right before halftime. Come out in the second half, Vanderbilt scores again. Well, then Alabama's down 2 touchdowns right away. And that's a tough hole to come back from. And Vanderbilt's great when they're ahead, and they're built to be ahead, whereas they're not quite as good from coming from behind. So the fact that Alabama played the way it did to not only score that touchdown right before half, but also get a stop after half, huge.
Yeah, it really was huge. And I thought, Nick, overall, the adjustments made by Kane Womack, and I've criticized him, but I thought that that was the best what they did set the second half, the way they kind of built that bubble around Diego Pavia. I thought it was their best 2 quarters of the season.
Oh, it was phenomenal. And yeah, I think it really impressed because it felt like it was unraveling. It felt like, okay, here we go again. Here's another Alabama team getting gashed on the ground. After that first quarter, it was ugly. And those big runs they gave up too. It just felt like it was doomed. Frankly, the run defense was in trouble, and this was going to be a long day for Alabama. Like, if you would have asked me after those first 3 drives really, because they had that missed kick too, how this game was going to go, I'd be like, yeah, Alabama's cooked. I mean, this is just a repeat of last year.
Right.
Well, Alabama wasn't. They climbed back. And they fought back, and the biggest way we saw that was with the run defense. I mean, Tim Keenan talked about going to the sideline like, nah, like, we're not letting this happen again. We're not going to let them just do what they want to do. I mean, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that seemed to be the vibe that he had, and they followed through on that, and they adapted. They adjusted. And to me, the measures of great coaching staffs and great coaches are those that can adjust. Because, yeah, other teams are going to have good game plans coming in, but what can you do once you see what they can do, what they're trying to do, and how can you adjust that? And so I thought Kane Womack really had a strong day being able to figure out that Vanderbilt offense.
And the physicality that they played with was impressive once again. We saw it against Georgia. We've seen it carry on now. This physicality, this edge that they're playing with is something that I think a lot of Alabama fans has wanted to see, and they've seen it now in consistent weeks.
Yeah, I think that the whole playing on their heels from week 1, it seems like they're getting farther and farther away from that.
Yes.
You look at Justin Jefferson, for example. He's a guy who did not play well against Florida State, but he's getting better. I mean, you look at just even his missed tackle percentage from Pro Football Focus. I think he was around 36% on that first game, missing his tackles against Florida State. Ever since then, it's been going down. I mean, he had 0% against ULM, but we won't really count that because it's ULM. But ever since then, I think he was down to like 12% against Wisconsin, then 11% against Georgia. And now against Vanderbilt, he didn't miss any tackles. His missed tackle percentage was 0%. So really improvement from him that we're seeing that is so integral. I mean, he really had a phenomenal game. Like the stats show it, but even on the interception that Keon Sabb picked off Diego Pavia, it looked like that Diego Pavia wanted to go to the flat first where Junior Sherrill was his receiver, but Justin Jefferson forced him to look off that because of his coverage there. So he even helped make that interception happen, even though he doesn't get credit for that on the stat sheet. So really just an impressive effort from him. But I think he's kind of that microcosm of how this defense is improving, is playing faster, is playing more physical, is being the aggressor, is being the hammer and not the nail like we saw in week 1.
Well, and I know you guys are going to start breaking Missouri down this today with the coaching staff. It's media day, but I watched that Missouri team against South Carolina at home. Now they've played the first 5. This will be the 6th straight at home. Kind of unusual to get that many home games. Well, or correct me if I'm wrong. Was the Kansas game on a neutral field?
No, it was in Columbia, so that was a home game as well. So they've kind of had a cushy start that way.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was wondering because I couldn't remember if that had been in Kansas City. So that was also in Columbia. So this will be 6 in a row in Columbia, Missouri. So, and I watched, Ahmad Hardy. I thought, wow, this guy's pretty good. And I remembered him coming from ULM. And he had 1,300 yards last year, but he's been kind of a revelation. The Gamecocks certainly don't have the same D-line, but they could not come close to containing him. But the thing that really struck me, it wasn't just him. It was the overall depth of the running game with Jamal Roberts. He's a sophomore running back that impressed me with his phicality. And then Bo Perbula. I mean, he's not – I wouldn't say he's Diego Pavia or, one of these, running QBs that – you have to game plan for that's really hurt Alabama. But he's also not a stiff either because he had 70 yards against South Carolina. This running game is really good for Missouri.
Yeah, no doubt. It's looking a little bit like Mizzou might have won that decision for Penn State between Drew Aller and Bo Perbula. Now, a lot of seasons still to play out, so I'm not quite making that determination yet. But yeah, it's gone really well for Bo in Columbia. And yeah, I think it's going to be, again, fascinating to see how Alabama's run defense holds up against that rushing attack. You got to put your big boy pants on kind of thing to tackle some of these guys. I mean, Ahmad Hardy's a handful. Roberts, like you said, I mean, he's a big dude as well. Even if he's not big, I don't remember his exact measurements, but he felt like you really got to buckle up to tackle him. So yeah, we'll see what happens if Alabama can bring that physicality because it's going to be so key. And if Alabama can shut down that run game, Missouri's offense passing wise is not near as good. I think it's 51st in passing yards per game. So yeah, stop the run. It needs to start there. Not an easy task, but I think if you do that, Missouri's going to become one-dimensional pretty fast and not be able to win that football game.
Nick Kelly joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline as well as on video. It's good to see you again here on a Monday. Nick, your thoughts on the Alabama rushing game Saturday?
I mean, improvement. That's the biggest, I think, takeaway. Yeah, that's what we expected Jam Miller to be able to do. We heard good things about him all camp, all preseason, and then he gets hurt, has to miss time. And I think the Georgia game, obviously a tough run defense to go against for your first game. And also, I mean, when you have a collarbone injury, you're probably going to need a little bit of time to get back into the swing of things. And so, yeah, I think we saw that start to happen. But also past Jam Miller, the offensive line, I think, had some really nice blocks. There were a few moments where they really opened up some holes. And to Jam's credit, he read them well and took advantage of them. So, yeah, I think a necessary step. I'm not ready to say that Alabama's rushing attack is about to be elite, but it just needs to be good enough to complement what I think is an elite passing game.
Well, then that's a great segue as the last couple of minutes with NickKellyAL.com. The passing game continues to impress. Ty Simpson overcomes the early interception. Another very strong effort from 15, and we already had someone call in and talk about how a lot of the preseason Heisman hype for several of the top 4 or 5 candidates has gone by the wayside. Ty Simpson continuing to climb the charts.
Yeah, well, I'm going to throw us in the media under the bus because we got it wrong at SEC Media Days. We really struck out. I think the three quarterbacks were Garrett Nussmeier, Lenoris Sellers, and Arch Manning. We don't need to go in depth as to the whole Arch Manning debacle right now, but we really messed up. So we'll take accountability, I think, for how we might have bought the hype on some of those guys as well. So, yeah, I mean, Ty's been phenomenal. He gets better and better every week. He just has a comfort, I think, and a command and really an unflappability where he throws an interception on the first drive. Okay, come back, just keep rolling. And so that was really impressive to me how he responded to that. And it just shows that he's not flappable. And he is a guy that can bounce back and can play well. And yeah, so I think that was the most impressive part is how he responded to that first turnover. Because it's great when all things are going easy and well and you're succeeding and throwing touchdowns. But when you have adversity, how are you going to respond? And he responded really well. He keeps getting better and better. I'm not ready to hand him the Heisman in New York just yet. But on this path, I mean, he's in a fantastic spot right now, and he's playing phenomenal football, and he's fitting Ryan Grubb's offense really well.
He really is. Well, I know we're going to hear from you later today. You guys will talk to the coordinators and Coach Kalen DeBoer, and there'll be full blowout coverage of this trip to Como coming up this weekend on AL.com. Let everybody know how to follow you.
Yeah, AL.com. And as you mentioned, I should have addressed the fact that, yes, it's where I went to school is where Alabama's going this week. But if there's anything they taught us at the Missouri School of Journalism, it's how to be objective. So it's going to be a fun one this week in Columbia.
Well, we appreciate the hookup. We're going to hook up with Eli again this week, too.
Wish it wasn't 11 a.m., though.
Yeah,
just wish it was not 11 a.m.
I know. But at least, hey, folks can go out and enjoy Columbia, Como, Saturday night, some good spots. If anyone needs Rex, just hit me up. I got you. And it should be a fun one, fun weekend in Missouri.
Best place to eat, though, in Columbia.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, there's a lot to unpack here, but if you haven't been, like, you got to go to Shakespeare's for the experience, the pizza place, just because it's an iconic spot. It's not the best food you'll ever have or the best pizza you'll ever have, or even in Columbia, but it is a really fun time. It's a great atmosphere. So I recommend folks go there. But another place that's really good that some people might overlook is a place called the Heidelberg, which is close by to Shakespeare's. Some really good food there too. So that's a little bit maybe more under the radar. Folks in Columbia know about it, but for those who are visiting out of town, that's a good spot to check as well.
All right.
I think Scott would like Heidelberg's, the under the radar spot.
I'll take some pizza too.
Yeah, exactly. Nick, we appreciate it as always, sir. Thank you.
Hey, great to see you guys and have a great week.
Thanks, Nick. Good seeing Nick there on video on WCZN TV as always. Let's get a break in. I got to thinking there about. Well, no, I got to thinking about because Nick said, "Hey, look, he's not ready to give Ty Simpson the Heisman yet or put him up there," but it makes you wonder. Last year, just how much of a difference Ryan Grubb is making in this offense as the offensive coordinator. Ty Simpson on that roster last year. We know, he doesn't play last year. We know Jalen Milroe, the quarterback, Nick Sheridan, the offensive coordinator. Makes you just kind of go, You wonder if Ryan Grubb was there last year, what this offense would have looked like. All right, let's get a break in. Wrap it all up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold-certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings, in Hampton Cove and our latest location, now open in New Market on Winchester Road.
I'm here with Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. With the temperatures going up, now is a good time to get your heating and air system looked at. Thomas, when somebody calls, you guys answer.
That's right. The phones are staffed by us. They're manned 24/7. We're ready to come out and take care of you that day.
How do they give you guys a call?
You give us a call at 256-503-4490.
And you can find you guys on the World Wide Web at
talenthvac.com.
And now is a good time to do this because you guys are offering a special deal.
That's right. We're doing
this segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia.
Well, that's how you finish it all up. Here we've been kind enough to be able to spend 2 hours with you here at Bill Penny Toyota in the service department, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Don't forget 3 tires. You buy those 3, you get that 4th one for $1. Big thanks to Bryan Matthews, Nick Kelly. Got a lot accomplished in 2 hours, as much as we could.
Yep,
I think.
No question.
We're back at it tomorrow, back in studio for a Tuesday edition of Talking Ball. A lot to get to this week. A lot to get to. We'll back at it tomorrow. Stay safe.
Hey, folks, our